All right, folks, welcome back to the How to Retire on $3,000 per week podcast. I'm here with Ben. We are chatting about Chapter 5, which is the magic of compounding, Ben. Now, this is what I want to say to you. I am not a tattoo guy. I don't think it suits me. If I got one, I think I'd look stupid. But if I was going to get a tattoo, Ben...
So you telling me off because I've got the big eagles on the back of my back.
You've got... I thought it was a big lion.
Well, no.
No, of course you're joking. But,
of course I'm joking.
Although I'm surprised you don't have the 2010 and the 2023.
23 and 2000. And then 57.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so I've opened up a can of worms there. Hey, but if I did get a tattoo, Ben,
yes,
I think I'd put it on the inside of my wrist.
Ooh.
And I'd have the word compounding on it because it's the eighth wonder of the world.
It is.
It's what that whole chapter was about.
Yes.
And it is... Here's the thing I want to let the listeners know. As soon as the penny drops that property investing is a decade's game, not a year's game, oh my gosh, it opens up a world of joy, peace, because you're not going to get caught up in the ups and downs of the market. You're just going to go, at the time of writing this book, we wrote it in 2024. So you go, I'm going to check in 2034. I'm going to check in 2044. I'm going to check in 2054. That's the mindset and the frame that you need to have.
I remember when we were putting this part of the book together, you could almost put another sort of 20 or 30 pages in. Like we struggled in terms of condensing that down.
Yes.
Like, if you think about the previous chapters about why property and, the importance of what, like they can be also bigger, but this is such an important part of the book. And it goes for obviously 20 odd pages for a reason, because there is so much that we want to land, in terms of the importance of the return that you're getting, and and optimizing when you are leveraging. All of these things come into play into here, and then to your point, letting the power of time do its thing. There's not a wasted page or a message in here, and it's obviously magically supported by our supplemental charts that we've got also from Vanguard. So thank you, Vanguard, for approving that, and also
Cotality.
Our friends at Cotality.
But at the time it was CoreLogic, but
yes,
that's why we
time.
wrote CoreLogic in it. But
yes.
Now I've quickly turned to Cotality. Hey, folks, if you're this early, if there was ever a time to go and cut another lap or read another chapter, go. The amount of whenever you're feeling wobbly, whenever you're at a barbecue and someone says, "What are you doing?" Whenever you see a negative headline, if you just go and read this chapter again, because there's a couple of things that I think. One is you look at those charts that you just mentioned, and as our good friend Evan Lucas says, they are deliciously ugly. And why does he say deliciously ugly? Because most books have these beautiful hockey stick graphs, but when you actually look at what we've done, they're ugly, they're scary, and any one of those pullbacks, you could have got nervous. But if you zoom out and look at a long enough time horizon, it's such a beautiful thing. So
the trend is your friend, Bros. That's what they say in investing. And if you think about the fundamentals of property from a compounding point of view, it's a wonderful inflation hedge. It's backed by population and economic growth that sort of brings it into this particular story. So if you buy well and select a town, region, city that's growing, and the economic pathway of that is growing, then ultimately the power of compound can be left to work its magic.
It can. So as we round this chapter out, Ben, there is a diagram on page 61 if you've got the book. If you're in the supplemental PDF, have a look. It talks about property over 3 decades.
Yes.
And it tells you what the percentage of the 30-year return has in each of the decades. Like, you got to study that.
Yeah,
you've got
that's got to land.
That if you don't really, don't just go past that graph and move on. Let it land, because what it's saying is over 50% of your return will happen at the back end. It's like a back-ended contract, Ben, for one of our beloved AFL players that sign up early just to get the salary cap right at the beginning, but at the back of their career they get a back-ended contract. It's the same thing. It means that the property is going to give you a back-ended return. But you have to fulfil the contract, Ben, to actually see that major benefit. Because Correct. If you get out early, or you break your contract and you don't stay in the game for long enough, you just don't get that beautiful return that happens.
And sometimes we hear people talking about 6% and 5.8s and 7%. Those little things matter because, as you can see in that chart, Bryce, you're banking the dollars. You're banking the dollars. So someone can say, I got a 22% return where my value moved in a smaller decimal amount. But when you're getting a 53% return on almost $1 million, that's material. It's material. So remember, you get to bank the dollars. So, and that's the power of compound.
Now, Ben, I know you shouldn't have favourite children. We got 2 kids each, and we shouldn't declare. But this could possibly be one of my favourite chapters. I just reckon it. If you get, and that's why we put it in nicely.
Well, that's why when Noel Whittaker's book, Make Money Simple, that's when I read the compounding chapter in that book. Yeah. That was the aha lot.
Game over.
That was it.
Yeah.
I just need to get something that continues to keep growing in a consistent way and let it compound. That's it.
I love it, Ben. So what we've actually done there is we've quickly wrapped up the first part of our book, which is the foundations.
Part 1.
And if you have come this far in the book, we have really... You'll notice that we've grabbed this analogy of ascending the mountain to the peak of Everest, Ben.
Yes.
So really what we've done here is we've got you to base camp. We've got you in the game. We've got you enough information so that you know what the goal is. You got lifestyle by design. You're defining the wealth, and you got the power of property. So the groundwork here is done. But we're going to move on to something that you and I are pretty excited about in the next part, which is the property investment formula. So you need to stick around for that.
You've got to be, if you're going to play in the game, you've got to know how the game's played.
Oh, mate. I love what you're doing there. So, folks, if you're playing along at home, hopefully you've got your copy of the book, How to Retire on $3,000 per week, the Property Couch's playbook for passive property investing. If you haven't, go to How to Retire on 3k.com.au, and there's all the details there, audiobooks and book retailers and how to actually get
your hand on it.
Mate, well, we don't want to linger too long on that, but let's move on to part 2.